Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dive into something that's super simple, but also really important for everyday English. How to say no the right way using two powerful little helper words.
Okay, so you probably know how to say something like this. I like coffee. Easy, right? But what if you want to say the opposite? How would you do that?
So a lot of people's first guess is something like, I know like coffee. And look, people will probably understand what you mean, but it's not quite right grammatically. And hey, if you've ever said this, don't worry, you are definitely not alone. It's a really common hurdle for learners. You know, making mistakes is just a totally normal part of learning any new language. Actually, get this. A study from 2020 looked at student errors, and they found over 600 mistakes in just one classroom test. So this is a challenge for a lot of people. But here's the good news. The fix for this is actually super easy.
The solution? It's way simpler than you think. All you need are two little helper words that do all the hard work for you.
All right, first up, let's meet your helpers. Don't and doesn't.
Okay, so first things first. Don't is just the short, easy way to say do not, and doesn't is short for does not. Now, in grammar, they're sometimes called dummy auxiliaries, which is kind of a funny name, right? Think of them like this. Their only job is to jump into a sentence and make it negative. That's it. They don't add any other meaning, they're just there to help.
So how do you know which one to use? Well, the rule is really simple. It all comes down to the subject of the sentence. If the subject is I, you, we, or they, you're going to use don't. If it's he, she, or it, you use doesn't. Seriously, that's the whole rule. Let's see how it works. Okay, section 2. Let's put the don't rule into action.
All right, let's start with a really simple positive sentence. I speak English. Here, the subject is I, right?
So if we look back at our rule, for the subject I, we need our helper don't. We just slide it in right before the verb. I don't speak English. See how easy that is?
Let's try another one. They go to the club. The subject this time is they.
And you guessed it, our rule says with they, we use don't. So the sentence becomes, they don't go to the club. Easy, right? Simple, clean, and totally correct.
All right, on to section 3, the doesn't rule in action. Now pay close attention here, because there's one tiny little detail that is super important.
So look at this sentence. He works at home. You see that little S on the end of the verb works? That's key. We always add that S for he, she, and it when we're talking in the present tense.
Okay, so we know we need to use doesn't here, because the subject is he. But what happens to that S on the verb? Does it stay? Does it go? What do you think?
Okay, here is the most important rule of this whole explainer. When our helper doesn't comes into the sentence, it basically absorbs that S. The S on the main verb just disappears. He works becomes he doesn't work. She speaks turns into she doesn't speak. Our little helper doesn't does all the work, so the main verb can just relax and go back to its original simple form.
And if you want the official grammar nerd reason, it's that the verb after don't or doesn't is the base form. But all that really means is you use the original, plain version of the verb. You know, speak, not speaks. Work, not works. No extra bits on the end.
Now this rule is a really big deal when it comes to the verb to have. This is where a ton of people make a little mistake, so let's clear it up. You'd say he has a new bike, right? But when you make it negative, you don't say he doesn't has. Nope. Remember, doesn't takes the S away, and the original base form of has is actually have, so the correct sentence is, he doesn't have a new bike. It follows the exact same rule we just learned. Okay, last section. Let's do a quick summary, and then it's your turn to try it out.
So, what are the most important things to remember? To make a negative sentence, you're going to use don't or doesn't. The choice is easy. Don't is for I, you, we, and they. Doesn't is for he, she, and it. And that big one, right? After doesn't, the verb goes back to its original form. No S at the end. Ever.
Think of it like this. A simple 3-step guide you can use every single time. Step 1, just find the subject, like she. Step 2, pick the right helper for that subject, which is doesn't. And finally, step 3, just add the plain original verb, like speak. You put those pieces together and bam, a perfect negative sentence. She doesn't speak Italian.
All right, your turn. Let's use this right now.
I want you to think of something. What's one food that you just do not like? Go ahead, say it in your head or even out loud. I don't like whatever it is. Getting the hang of this one little thing is a huge step. It's going to make you sound so much more natural when you speak English.